Morning. It's Tuesday, November 7th, Election Day. And a very interesting thing happened to me when I was preparing to do this rant. And I started looking to see who was running in office in my area of the country. And I went through an entire list of people who were running in New York State because I live in New York State and I was interested. And I discovered something that I knew nothing about. And this had been going on since 1998, and I never heard about this particular group of people. And this is a group of people who are listed as Democrats. They're Democrats, but they're not Democrats. They're members of the Working Families Party, which is a group of Democrats that have split off from the main Democratic Party. And they are basically enthralled with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is the leading Working Families' most prominent member. In fact, he actually was the founder of this particular group of people. And as I said, this happened in 1998. The party has headquarters in Brooklyn, New York. And it has a membership of 53,000 people registered in New York. And its ideology is classified as social democracy and progressivism and democratic socialism and left-wing populism. So it's a split from the Democratic Party. And its political position is center-left to entirely left. And its colors are blue and white. And it has 2 seats in the Senate, 13 seats in the House, and 1 governorship. And that's amazing that all of this stuff is going on, and I didn't even know it, right? And in the state Senate in New York, there's 29 members of this party, and in the lower house, there's 48 members of this party. And Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia City Council, they have people. So they're all over. And let me tell you the list of states that recognize this party. So it's a left-wing minor political party, according to the article. And there are active chapters in California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, the District of Columbia, Georgia, Illinois, Maryland, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Texas even, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. And as I said before, this party was put together in 1998, and I don't even know anything about it. And it advocates in favor of groups like the Citizens Action for New York and the Association of Community Organizations for Reform Now. These are groups I've never heard of. And the party is primarily concerned with legislative reform, and it spends a lot of time fighting for the raising of the minimum wage, and it wants universal paid sick days, and it's got a group within its organization that is addressing the problem with student aid and student funding, and it's for progressive taxation. And it's in favor, definitely, of public education and environmental reform in the areas of energy usage, etc. And it sort of crisscrosses between left-wing Democrats, progressive Democrats, and even some Republicans have stated an interest in this organization. This particular group of Republicans believes in fusion voting, and this group has been known to run its own candidates occasionally. Many would wonder why and how the Working Family Party is going to operate in New York. Well, under New York's law, they are allowed to tack themselves onto other parties' candidates, which means they don't necessarily have to have their own candidate. And for what I have seen in the listing of candidates, where the Working Family Party has a candidate, The Democratic Party doesn't have one. Or if they have one, he's listed somewhere else, but he's not listed as a Democrat candidate. So when I looked through the entire listing in New York State, I did not find any conflict between the Working Family Party and the regular Democratic Party. So it looks to me like the coalition is the Working Family Party is basically a subset of the regular Democratic Party, and if they consider that candidate good enough, they're going to support him. And I haven't seen one example in the entire listing in New York State where there's a conflict between the Democratic Party and the Democratic Working Family Party. And that's a good thing, because I can't imagine a state where the Republicans controlled everything, or a country where the Republicans control everything. Because right now the Republican Party is a disaster. This doesn't mean that the Working Family Party always does everything the Democrats want them to do, because they have occasionally endorsed moderate Republican Party candidates as a strategy for spurring bipartisan action on the priorities of the other party. So, I would call this type of activity putting your 2 cents in. How's that? And there have been cases when a candidate who wanted to run on the Democratic Party was denied that, and they have chosen to run on the Working Families Party. This particular incident happened when Letitia James decided to challenge a gentleman called Jeffrey Davis, because Jeffrey Davis was an inexperienced politician. And Jeffrey Davis was chosen because his brother had died, and the Democrats wanted to put him up in his brother's place. But he was inexperienced. So James went to the WFP and got herself elected to Brooklyn's 35th City Council seat. And she was the first third-party candidate elected in over 30 years. But later on, James switched back to the Democratic Party when she successfully ran for a re-election in 2008. So you see, this particular party, the Working Families Party, is tightly aligned with Democrats, but not so tightly aligned that they don't have some freedom, and they don't use that, and they use that freedom when necessary. So it's an interesting situation with the Working Families. A minor party, but it has some clout. And it gives people an opportunity to say they didn't vote Democratic, or they didn't vote Republican, but they voted through the Working Class Party. It's another example of how things can work in our democracy if people want them to work, and if people would get off their ass and do the right thing. So I leave you with that this morning. The Working Family Party. Take care. Bye.